Thailand will reopen some businesses, including restaurants, from this Sunday. Venues that are allowed to open will have to follow strict health guidelines. This is despite a state of emergency, which remains in place until May the 31st. Thailand reported 7 more COVID-19 cases, but no new deaths. Nearly 3,000 people have been infected in the country, and the death toll stands at 54. Well, let's get more clarity and details from our correspondent Saksit Sayasambat in Bangkok. Saksit, an easing of the lockdown measures somewhat. What specifically can or can't people and businesses do from Sunday?
Yes, indeed. The Thai government has announced the easing of and the reopening of 6 specific locations and businesses that can reopen on Sunday. They include restaurants, they include markets, public parks, and also barbershops. Those are among those places that will reopen on Sunday, but under strict conditions, under very strict health guidelines. For example, safe distancing, temperature screening, and constant cleanup. So that is what needs to be done in order for these places to maintain reopen. And also, for example, public parks may reopen, but only for individual recreational purposes only. For example, running, but no mass gatherings and no picnics. But then again, there are also still other restrictions that maintain for now, including the state of emergency that has been extended until the end of the month. And part of that are, for example, the night curfew, the travel restrictions, and also, to the dismay of many people here in Thailand, the ban on alcohol sales also remains for now.
And those extended restrictions that you just mentioned, how does this new move to reopen some business gel with that extended restrictions? On the surface, it may seem like mixed messages.
It does seem a little bit contradictory. I think the problem here is not really so much that the messages seem to be contradicting each other. The problem is more that the timing of it. We have earlier this week the extension of the state of emergency by the Thai cabinet on Tuesday, and then the Bangkok City Hall, the Bangkok Metropolitan Authority, then has come out with a proposal what places may or may not open, and that kind of created some false hope that when those places might open and reopen. So I think until during these couple of days, during this timelines, I think that's where all those mixed messages came up. And also your mileage may vary, even though we have now a confirmation that some businesses may reopen on the 3rd, but your mileage may vary depending where you are in the country, because the provincial governors, they are allowed to make some restrictions stricter than in other places as necessary. So it is a little bit contradictory on the surface, and the authorities have also said that this is more or less a trial phase for the next 2 weeks to see how the COVID-19 situation develops. You must remember that even though the numbers of daily new cases have been lower than 10 for most of the week now, but if the situation does get worse in this trial period, they might pull up those restrictions again.
Yeah, I understand. Thank you so much, Saksit Sayasambat, updating us from Bangkok on those easing of restrictions, which the government is, as Saksit said, calling like a trial period.